Hello, entrepreneurs. Well, have you ever walked into your office and sat down and immediately felt overwhelmed? Not because you had too much work, because your brain was just trying to remember everything, right? And here's what I've discovered. I don't use a planner because I like being organized. I use a planner because every time I make a plan and follow through, I'm building trust in myself. And it's that one simple habit that has really changed the way I run my business. I'm Gail Bates, and every week I share practical ideas to help entrepreneurs build their business with more confidence, clarity, and purpose. And I'd love you to hit that subscribe button for future stories, because I share lovely interviews with entrepreneurs who work around the world. And while you're at it, don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss an interview or maybe a video just about entrepreneurship. So the other morning, I was out on my morning walk, and I started thinking about all the things that we carry around in our heads. You know, it's those things like the emails we need to send or the courses that we want to create. And maybe it's the phone call that we've been putting off, or the idea. That's for me. I have a lot of ideas. Just the idea I don't want to forget. I really need to make sure I remember those ideas. But before I reached the end of my walk, I realized I wasn't thinking, I was remembering. And without realizing it, we just become the storage place for hundreds of little tasks and unfinished decisions, all in our mind. And then we wonder why we feel overwhelmed, right? I don't think it's because we have too much to do. I think it's because we're trying to remember too much. Is this resonating with you? Because, you know, your brain wasn't really designed to be a to-do list. So when every task stays in your head, your mind never gets a chance to rest. And instead of focusing on what's important, you're constantly trying to remember what comes next. Think about it. You might think to yourself, what was I supposed to do today? Or I really mustn't forget to do this, or I'll do that later. So every unfinished task quietly asks for your attention. And eventually your thoughts just become cluttered, and it's really harder to make good decisions. And that's why one of the simplest productivity habits is also one of the most powerful. And I really wanted to share it with you today, because that is simply just write it down. The moment you move a task from your mind onto paper, something changes. You create space. You feel lighter. Your mind is free to think instead of remembering. And as entrepreneurs, we often tell ourselves we're thinking things through, and sometimes that's true, but many times we're simply delaying a decision. We tell ourselves, well, I'll do it when I know the right answer, right? Or I'll wait until I'm more confident. What if I make the wrong decision? So when all this is happening, your days are turning into weeks, your weeks are turning into months, and you're not moving forward. And the problem isn't usually lack of knowledge, it's just lack of self-trust. We think we need more information. We think we need more courses. We need to read more books. We just need really to trust in ourselves more. And I really think it's one of the biggest lessons we all need to pay attention to, because you don't build trust by waiting until you're certain. You build trust by making decisions. And some decisions will be right, and some are really going to be wrong. That every decision you make always teaches you something, because if it doesn't work, you simply course correct, right? And you move forward. You learn, and the bottom line is you just keep going. So entrepreneurship isn't about making perfect decisions. It's about making thoughtful decisions and adjusting along the way. And I call all of this purposeful planning, because I believe when you're purposeful, it builds that self-confidence in you. So it's not about managing your calendar. It's about creating a system that helps you think clearly. So instead of carrying every task in your head, you simply write it down. Instead of wondering what to work on next, you're choosing your priorities. And instead of questioning every decision, you're just taking the next step. And the more often you do this little formula, the more confidence, or the more self-confidence you're building. Not because every decision is perfect, but because you've learned to trust yourself and to handle whatever comes next. And I think you're probably finding that on your journey of entrepreneurship. Well, that's exactly how we approach things inside the Entrepreneurs Collab Circle, which is my school community. We don't believe productivity is about cramming more into your day. We believe it's about purposeful planning and creating simple systems that help you stop feeling that overwhelm. And it helps you make better decisions. But most of all, you just keep moving forward with confidence. So my goal in this circle is simple. We help entrepreneurs who work from home like you create more structure, stay focused, and make that consistent progress and trusting in yourself. It's pretty simple because when you have a plan you trust, it's easier to trust yourself. So my question for you today is, what is one task or one decision or one idea that you've been carrying around in your head? Today, I want you to write it down and ask yourself one simple question. What's the very next step I can take? Because progress really begins with having all the answers. It begins with trusting yourself enough to take that next step. You don't have to have the entire journey figured out. You just have to take that next step. And that's how businesses are built. More importantly, that's how self-confidence grows. And that's how purposeful planning turns all those good intentions into consistent progress. So if this video encouraged you today, I'd really love for you to hit the subscribe button. And if you're looking for that structure or motivation and accountability, I'd love to welcome you into the Entrepreneurs Collab Circle. The link to join is below, and I'll see you on the next video.